In the pre-dawn silence, as the last star faded behind distant mountains, an unnatural cold swept through the kingdom. Anna, a young woman of 20 with wind-chapped cheeks and searching eyes, stood in her narrow attic, heart pounding beneath layers of wool. She stared at her breath crystallizing in the dim light, whispering, "Why does the cold feel so heavy tonight?" Down below, villagers awoke to frost on the insides of their windows, firewood brittle as glass, wells sealed with ice thick as armor. Not even the oldest grandmothers remembered a night so harsh. As Anna pulled her shawl tighter, she heard the toll of the monastery bell, an urgent, mournful sound. The village square echoed with alarmed voices, rumors swirling like the snow. Anna's mother, voice trembling, said, "They say the river froze in a heartbeat. Even the birds have gone." Shadows lengthened in the early morning, fear clinging to the air like fog. Anna felt a strange emptiness settling in her chest, a silent warning that nothing would ever be the same. As the sun struggled to rise, Anna moved through the numbed streets, each step crunching over snow that seemed to devour sound itself. Villagers whispered as she passed, eyes cast downward, afraid to meet her gaze. A cart, once full of produce, stood abandoned and rimed with frost, the apples within transformed into pale glass orbs. Anna paused by the well, listening to a neighbor mutter, "It's as if winter itself has a vendetta against us." The monastery bell's echo faded, but its urgency lingered in the air. Anna gripped her shawl tighter and pressed forward, past closed doors and silent windows, toward the distant monastery. She wondered, what force could freeze the world overnight? The cold felt almost alive, pressing against her heart, her hope faltering with every breath. Yet something deep inside Anna whispered that she must move forward, that this frozen darkness had meaning only she could unravel. Anna reached the steps of the monastery, where monks stood clustered in uneasy silence. The abbot, a tall man with a weathered face, greeted her with a grave nod. "Anna, the frost is no ordinary winter," he said, voice carrying a weight that pressed upon everyone. "We felt it in our prayers, a shadow moving in the north." The monks exchanged anxious glances, some clutching prayer beads, others peering skyward as if expecting an omen. Anna asked, "What do you mean? A shadow?" The abbot replied, "Something ancient has awakened. We sense sorrow, an old pain returning to claim the land." His words sent a chill deeper than the cold itself through Anna. For a moment, all stood in stillness, the world hushed except for the distant cracking of ice. Anna's resolve hardened, and she whispered, "Then I must find the source, before the cold devours us all." Anna left the monastery with a new sense of purpose burning beneath her fear. She walked along the frozen riverbank, where the once lively water was now a motionless mirror, reflecting bleak, steel-gray clouds. Children stood nearby, their laughter replaced by silence, poking at the ice with sticks. Anna crouched beside the river, touching the surface. The cold bit into her fingers, but she did not flinch. Instead, she closed her eyes and listened, to the eerie hush, to the whispers of the current trapped below. If I listen hard enough, Anna thought, will the river tell me what has happened? In the distance, an ancient willow bent under the weight of frost, its branches trailing across the glassy ice. The world felt suspended, waiting for someone brave enough to break the spell. Anna opened her eyes, heart steady, ready to begin her search. As the day's pale light crept higher, Anna stood alone atop the ridge overlooking her village. Below her, the world was transformed, fields and rooftops coated in a shimmering, unyielding white. Anna's breath clouded the air as she watched faint plumes of smoke rise from chimneys, evidence of life fighting against the suffocating cold. She drew her shawl close, feeling the silent weight of expectation settle on her shoulders. "I am afraid," she admitted softly, "but I cannot turn away." For a moment, Anna allowed herself to grieve for the warmth lost, for the laughter stolen by frost. Then she turned her gaze north, where legend said the Ice Witch's castle lay hidden among the peaks. In that moment, fear and hope mingled within her, crystallizing into a single purpose. Anna took her first step forward, the snow crunching beneath her feet, the journey had begun. Anna pressed northward, guided by the rumors that the Ice Witch's shadow had awakened somewhere beyond the ridge. The path wound through the skeletal forest, where ancient birches creaked and groaned in the icy wind. Each step forward was a battle, her boots crunching through snow, her heart aching with the memories she tried to bury. Anna remembered her father's stories by the fire, how he'd warned her, desire can be more dangerous than frost. A flicker of longing caught her. What if she could turn back time, reclaim the warmth of those vanished days? She brushed tears from her cheek, whispering, "I would trade anything to bring him back." In the trees, strange shadows seemed to follow, flickering between trunks, as if her own regrets had taken shape. The world pressed in, silent and cold, but Anna moved on, determined to find the source of the winter before she became its next memory. The deeper Anna walked into the forest, the more she felt the weight of her unspoken desires. Her thoughts returned to her younger brother, lost the previous winter, his laughter a memory echoing through the silence. Anna clutched a small wooden carving he'd made for her, rubbing it between her numb fingers. "I promise to protect you," she whispered, voice breaking. The woods seemed to listen, branches bowing as if sharing her grief. Suddenly, a wild hare dashed across her path, white as the snow, its eyes bright and alert. Anna watched it disappear into a hollow feeling hope stir faintly within her. If there's still life in this forest, perhaps there's still hope for us all. The longing in her chest softened a little as she continued, the carving warming slightly in her palm, a fragile thread connecting her to what she'd lost. Anna reached a clearing where the snow seemed untouched by any living thing. In its center stood a solitary pine tree, heavy with icicles, its branches drooping under their crystal weight. Here, the cold deepened, and Anna sensed she was not alone. Suddenly, she heard a faint melodic voice echoing between the trees. It was the song her mother used to sing, a lullaby about warmth and belonging. Anna turned in every direction, searching for the singer, but saw only swirling snow and shadow. Her heart raced. Was it a memory or something else? The melody curled around her like a promise, pulling her forward. "If you want to heal the winter, you must face what you most desire," the voice whispered. Anna's longing surged, mingled with fear. She knelt beneath the pine, clutching the carving to her chest, and vowed, "I will face it whatever comes." The song faded, leaving Anna in trembling silence. She rose and moved onward, following the invisible pull of hope and memory. As the forest thinned, Anna glimpsed a frozen pond rimmed with reeds, its surface smooth as glass. She gazed at her reflection, barely recognizing the hollow-eyed girl staring back. For a moment, Anna pressed her hand to the ice, watching as a web of cracks appeared beneath her touch. The vision of her brother flickered in the mirrored surface, his face half formed from mist and memory. "I miss you," she breathed, tears sliding down her face. Her own desire, to undo the past, to heal what was lost, tugged at her with painful intensity. Yet as the cracks widened, Anna saw her reflection split and shift, revealing not loss, but a path forward, shimmering beneath the ice. She drew strength from this vision, and rose, wiping her tears away. Anna moved beyond the pond, her resolve hardening as she climbed the gentle slope toward the edge of the forest. Above, the sky shifted from gray to the palest blue, a promise of dawn. As she crested the hill, she saw a distant spire glinting in the morning light, the rumored fortress of the Ice Witch. The sight filled Anna with equal parts dread and determination. The air grew colder, every breath a challenge, but the memory of her family and the faint warmth of hope in her heart pushed her onward. "I walk this path for all of us," she whispered. Anna paused, letting herself feel both longing and courage, then started toward the distant spire, footprints marking her passage through the deepening snow. Forest behind her whispered with wind and memory. Before her lay the unknown. The world sharpened to harsh white as Anna trudged through the open fields leading to the foothills. Each gust of wind sliced through her shawl, stinging her skin and eyes. The closer she came to the Ice Witch's domain, the heavier the air became, as if the very snow bristled with warning. Doubt gnawed at Anna's resolve, her fears rising with the icy wind. What if she failed? What if she was not strong enough to face what lay ahead? You must let go. Her father's words echoed in her mind, but she clenched her fists tighter. Far ahead, shadows darted over the drifts. Strange, half-formed creatures shaped from ice and longing, reflections of Anna's own fears. The land itself seemed to resist her passage. Still, Anna pressed forward, whispering to herself, "I am more than my fears." Her breath clouded, but her steps did not falter. Anna stumbled into a shallow ravine, where the wind howled louder and the shadows grew thicker. The air crackled with a strange magical energy. Suddenly, one of the ice creatures slithered from the snow, a child-sized figure with hollow eyes and frost-dusted hair, its form flickering between human and something much older. Anna froze, heart pounding, as the creature beckoned with a finger of swirling frost. "You carry your fear like a stone," it whispered in a voice like breaking icicles. Anna's lips trembled. "I must keep going, I can't give in." The creature's eyes flashed. "Only those who shed their burdens can cross." Anna hesitated, feeling the weight of her guilt and grief. For a moment, she bowed her head, whispering an apology to the memory of her brother. The creature faded, leaving only swirling snow. Anna stood taller, the burden slightly lessened. Emerging from the ravine, Anna found herself at the edge of a frozen waterfall, its cascades locked in place by glimmering sheets of blue-white ice. Above, the sky threatened storm, clouds rolling like bruised silk. Anna stood at the precipice, torn between the path behind and the unknown ahead. She heard the river's spirit whisper, "Every choice leaves a shadow." Anna's mind swirled with regrets, words unspoken, forgiveness withheld. She sank to her knees, the cold seeping through her bones, and wept, allowing her sorrow to thaw in the open air. Slowly, as tears fell onto the ice, faint cracks appeared, spreading outward in delicate patterns. The world felt poised on the edge of change, waiting for Anna to release what she could not hold. As her sobs quieted, the cracks shimmered with light, a path forming forward. As the last of Anna's tears fell, the ice beneath her hummed with a strange ancient music. Slowly, she rose, steadied by a new determination. The air cleared, the storm easing for a moment, and Anna saw the path carved by her sorrow. The cracks in the ice now led toward a narrow mountain pass. She whispered, "Thank you," unsure if she spoke to the river, her brother's memory, or the voice within herself. Gathering her courage, Anna crossed the frozen waterfall, careful but unafraid, each step guided by the glowing cracks beneath her feet. Shadows lingered at the edge of the light, but Anna ignored them, eyes set forward. At the far end of the pass, the first glimpse of the Ice Witch's fortress shimmered in the distance, a pale, jagged silhouette against the gathering night. Anna's heart thundered, fear and hope intertwined. Night fell swiftly as Anna reached the entrance of the mountain pass. The temperature plunged, the silence deepening until even Anna's breath seemed loud in her ears. She paused before the looming gateway, two enormous stones encrusted with ancient runes, glowing faintly with frost. The air here was thick with magic and memory. Anna's heartbeat echoed the thrum of something old and powerful awakening. She closed her eyes, steadying herself. "I have come this far," Anna said, voice clear but quiet. "I will not turn away now." With one last look at the frozen land behind her, she placed her hand upon the rune-marked stone. The gate shuddered open, releasing a flurry of snow and a wave of icy wind. Anna stepped through, crossing the threshold from her past struggles into the unknown heart of winter. Anna entered the pass, and the world narrowed to a corridor of stone and wind. Shadows pressed close, their shapes twisting and whispering in voices eerily familiar. Anna shivered, realizing the echoes belonged to her own doubts and memories, each one repeating the things she'd tried to forget. The passage opened suddenly onto a hidden plateau where the snow shimmered like 1,000 mirrors. Anna stepped forward, her reflection multiplied and warped in the icy glass at her feet. Each face gazed back with eyes filled by longing, guilt, hope, and grief. Is this who I am? Anna wondered, voice trembling. The wind carried a faint, haunting melody, the lullaby her mother once sang. Anna knelt, cupping a handful of snow, feeling its sharp sting as if she could hold every memory at once. The plateau's silence pressed down, demanding Anna face herself honestly at last. A ripple ran through the mirrored snow, and from its depths emerged an apparition. Anna's brother, unchanged from her memories, his eyes bright and questioning. He stood just out of reach, his voice echoing softly. "Why do you carry so much sorrow, Anna?" She reached for him, but her hand passed through empty air. "I was supposed to protect you," Anna whispered, tears shining on her lashes. The vision of her brother shook his head, sadness mingling with warmth. "You cannot hold back the river, nor stop the snow from falling," he said gently. The words cut deep, yet also soothed. Anna's guilt ebbed, replaced by understanding. The apparition faded, dissolving into shards of light, leaving Anna alone, her heart raw but lighter. The plateau felt less cold, the ice beneath her feet glimmering with new possibility. With the vision gone, Anna's attention was drawn to a towering column of ice at the plateau's center. Encased within it was a ghostly vision of herself, pale and motionless, eyes closed. Anna approached, recognizing the face not as she was, but as she might become if she surrendered to despair. The column pulsed with cold blue light, and Anna felt its pull, a numbness offering escape from pain and memory. "You do not have to feel," the vision whispered, voice muffled by the ice. Anna trembled, tempted by the promise of release, but at the edge of her fear she remembered her brother's words. Summoning her courage, Anna touched the ice. "I choose to feel," she declared. The vision's eyes fluttered open, and a web of cracks snaked through the column, the illusion shattering in a burst of crystalline sound. As the column of ice crumbled, a swirling storm of frost rose around Anna, spiraling upward into the pale sky. For a moment, she stood at the heart of a blizzard, snowflakes racing past, each one reflecting a memory, a hope, or a regret. The wind howled with voices from Anna's past and future. But Anna did not falter. Instead, she reached into the chaos, catching a single snowflake on her palm. Instantly, the storm quieted, the world stilled. Anna gazed at the delicate crystal, seeing within it both pain and possibility. She closed her hand gently, letting go of the need to control her journey. The silence that followed was profound and peaceful. The storm's remnants drifted down in slow motion, blanketing the plateau in fresh, untouched snow, renewal after struggle. The world settled into a gentle hush. Anna looked around at the transformed plateau, its surface smooth and unbroken as glass. She stood, no longer haunted by visions, but instead grounded in the truth of her own heart. The sky blushed with dawn, and a golden light spilled across the snow, promising warmth to come. Anna felt the certainty that she was ready to face the Ice Witch, not as a victim of her past, but as a bearer of compassion and courage. She turned north, eyes clear, heart steady. Each step across the fresh snow was deliberate, the silence around her filled with quiet acceptance. The journey ahead would not be easy, but Anna moved forward, no longer running from her pain, but carrying the wisdom she had won in the reflections of ice. The air grew colder and sharper as Anna approached the Ice Witch's fortress. Jagged spires of ice rose from the ground, towering above her, their surfaces gleaming in the pale morning light. Each step forward felt like moving deeper into another world, a realm carved from silence and sorrow. Anna's breath came in clouds, her heart pounding with both dread and hope. Before the gates, she paused, recalling the wisdom she'd earned in the mountains. "I am not just my fear," she whispered. The fortress gates, carved with ancient runes, loomed taller than any building she'd ever seen. Suddenly, the great doors groaned open, revealing a vast, shadowed hall within. Anna swallowed her fear, stepped over the threshold, and was greeted by the cold, echoing silence of the Ice Witch's domain. Every footfall rang like a challenge, announcing her arrival. Inside, the vast hall stretched away, lined with columns of ice that reached into darkness above. The air pulsed with unnatural chill, and Anna's footsteps echoed as she advanced. At the far end, the Ice Witch waited, tall and regal, draped in shimmering white robes, her hair a cascade of silver, her eyes ancient and cold. The witch's voice rang out, clear and sharp as icicles. "Why do you come, mortal? What can you possibly hope to change?" Anna's courage wavered, but she steadied herself. "I come to end the winter, to free those you've trapped in sorrow and longing." The witch's laugh was soft, yet it froze the air. "You think compassion can melt a heart of ice?" Anna drew herself up, heart burning with conviction. "Yes, compassion can do what fear cannot." A tension filled the hall. A test had begun. The Ice Witch rose from her throne, descending the steps with the slow grace of falling snow. She circled Anna, her gown trailing frost, eyes searching for weakness. "You speak of compassion, but what of your own heart?" the witch challenged. With a gesture, the hall filled with illusions, visions of Anna's past, her failures, her regrets, the pain she had caused and suffered. Anna staggered, tears threatening, but she did not look away. "I am not perfect," she admitted, voice raw, "but I choose to forgive myself." The witch paused, startled by Anna's honesty. For a heartbeat, the air seemed to soften. Anna stood tall, refusing to let shame bind her any longer. The illusions cracked, light piercing through. "Your chains are of your own making," the witch whispered, her tone wavering as she glimpsed the truth in Anna's defiance. The witch raised her hands, and a blizzard howled to life inside the hall, swirling with wild magic. Ice shards danced on the wind, threatening to drive Anna to her knees. Yet Anna held firm, closing her eyes and breathing deep, drawing on every lesson of forgiveness and courage she had learned. "I am not your enemy," Anna called over the storm. "You are not only your pain." The words echoed, meeting resistance, and then, gradually, something shifted. The storm lost its fury, the snowflakes slowed. The witch's face, once frozen in contempt, flickered with uncertainty and sorrow. Anna stepped forward, hand outstretched. "Let go, as I have let go," she urged. The witch hesitated, the walls trembling as centuries of bitterness battled with the possibility of release. In that stillness, the blizzard's power finally faltered. In the sudden hush after the storm, Anna and the witch faced each other, two souls shaped by suffering. The witch's cold mask broke. Tears, glimmering like diamonds, slipped down her cheeks. She whispered, "How did you free yourself?" Anna's answer was gentle. "By accepting my pain and letting it go. By choosing love over fear." For the first time, warmth flickered in the witch's eyes. The hall shimmered as walls of ice began to melt, droplets sparkling in shafts of light. The witch fell to her knees, overcome by grief and hope. Anna knelt beside her, offering silent comfort. The fortress, once a tomb of sorrow, became a place of transformation. Outside, the first rays of sunlight broke through the clouds, signaling a change not just in the season, but in the hearts of all who had suffered. Anna embraced the witch, two souls united by forgiveness. The blizzard had ceased. Snowflakes no longer bit, but drifted, soft as sighs. Anna stood atop the shattered crystal bridge where the final confrontation had ended. The Ice Witch was gone, dissolved not by death, but by acceptance. All around her, the kingdom lay in hushed stillness, as if holding its breath. She dropped to her knees, not out of exhaustion but release. Tears came, not bitter, but cleansing. "I forgive you," she whispered. Was it to the witch? Herself? Her voice trembled into silence. From beneath the ice, faint pulses of warmth glowed, lanterns buried long ago flickering back to life. Birds dared to sing again. The wind no longer howled but hummed, as if the land itself exhaled. And in the distance, the frost receded from the castle spires. In the village square, statues once turned to ice now shimmered, cracking gently as warmth returned. One by one figures emerged, blinking, coughing, weeping. A child clutched his mother. An elder fell to his knees. The frost that had sealed them was not death, it had only been waiting. Anna walked among them, her presence both strange and sacred. Some stared. Some bowed. Some couldn't meet her gaze. A little girl tugged at Anna's sleeve. "Were you the one who melted the storm?" Anna knelt. "No, we melted it together." "Even her?" the girl asked, pointing to the distant spire where the ice witch had ruled. Anna smiled, tears catching again in her lashes. "Especially her." Back in her childhood home, untouched by time, yet weathered by cold, Anna found her mother's old letters, unsent drafts stained by frost, hidden in a locked drawer. Apologies, confessions, hopes. A bridge long thought burned still had stones beneath the snow. She read each one slowly, lips moving silently. They spoke of regret, of a past steeped in grief, of a daughter too young to understand her mother's pain. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked the still air. No reply came, only a creaking of old wood and the sun cutting through frost-covered windows. Anna lit a candle. "I forgive you," she whispered to the flame, "and I will remember you, not for your silence but for your struggle." Outside, icicles dropped like glass tears, and the snow on the roof began to slide. The once banished king rode through the thawing forest, escorted not by knights but by wind chimes of melting ice. He found Anna at the edge of the lake, watching as the first flower pierced the snow. "You saved them all," he said gently. She shook her head. "No, I only let go." He dismounted, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Then that was the bravest thing of all." They stood in silence, the lake beginning to ripple again. A reflection shimmered, not the ice witch's glare, but Anna's calm, open gaze. "Will you rule?" the king asked. She looked at the mountains. "I'll guide, but the people must choose their warmth." Weeks later, where once the ice witch's palace stood, villagers planted seeds. The land, scarred but fertile, welcomed them. Anna stood by a budding cherry tree, her fingers gently brushing a single bloom. Behind her, children laughed, chasing butterflies where blizzards once raged. She smiled, not as a hero, not as a ruler, but as a woman who had come through winter and found peace. She knelt, planted a seed herself, and whispered, "Grow in forgiveness." Above her, the skies were clear, the air crisp but kind. The frozen heart had thawed, not through fire or fury, but through compassion. And in that garden, a new story began. The castle ruins were quiet now. What once stood as a monolith of frost and fear had melted into soft hills, still glistening with dew. Anna stood barefoot in the morning snow, feeling the cool dampness against her soles, not painful, but refreshing. Around her, the wind carried echoes, not voices, but vibrations of memory. She closed her eyes and listened. No anger, no sorrow, only silence full of presence. A single snowflake drifted onto her palm. It didn't melt, it shimmered, as if aware it had a place. Anna breathed deeply. "Even the cold has a purpose," she murmured. "Even endings are beginnings." The last icicle fell from the remains of the tower with a gentle clink, as if bowing. Anna descended the hill, no longer wearing the heavy cloak of battle, but a simple linen shawl, light, soft, unburdened. Children gathered around her, offering her newly picked flowers and feathers. One handed her a piece of ice shaped like a heart. "It didn't melt," the child said with wonder. Anna smiled. "Because it isn't afraid anymore." She placed the heart-shaped ice on a nearby stone, where it glistened in sunlight, not vanishing, but becoming water, flowing into the ground. Around it, tiny green shoots began to rise. "Even what we fear can feed what comes next," she whispered. And the people watched, not with awe, but with calm reverence. The world did not need to be conquered, only understood. At the forest's edge, Anna knelt beside a mirror-clear pond, once frozen, now alive with dragonflies and drifting petals. She leaned over the surface and gazed into it. But the woman looking back was not the same as before. She no longer saw shame, or fear, or the haunted shadow of the ice witch. She saw herself, scarred, radiant, real. Her reflection smiled, And this time, Anna smiled back. "I forgive you," she told the woman in the water. "You did the best you could. And now, you are free." As if in agreement, the pond rippled gently, scattering the reflection into stardust and light. Anna stood and walked away, not to escape but to live. The pond remained still, as if guarding the truth she had uncovered. That evening, the village gathered under a tree heavy with blossoms. A small flame was lit, not a fire of destruction, but of remembrance. Names were spoken. Those lost, those changed, those forgiven. Anna held a candle, its warmth steady in her hands. She thought of her mother, of the ice witch, of the girl she used to be. With each breath she let a piece go, not to forget, but to honor. "Let this light be a promise," she said softly, raising the flame, "that no pain will be left unspoken, and no love unlived." Dozens of others raised their own flames in reply. In silence, together, they let go. Above them the stars emerged, each one a witness. At dawn, Anna stood alone on a ridge overlooking the valley. Snow still lingered in patches, but it gleamed now, like pearls, not scars. The first rays of sun touched the earth, and where they landed, frost gave way to blossoms. Birds stirred. The wind whispered her name, not as a queen, nor witch, nor savior, but simply, Anna. She breathed in the moment fully, her arms outstretched. No past, no future, only now. The suffering had passed, and in its wake, awareness bloomed. Far below, laughter rose from the village. A bell chimed softly. The final snowflake melted on her hand. And she smiled, not because it ended, but because it had all been real. The journey was complete.